Thank you for joining CU's first ever library orientation webinar. I'm Jonathan Leitonen, and I'm the new Instruction and Reference Specialist at the CU Montgomery Library. Before I moved to Kentucky, I previously taught a mix of college writing and ESL courses for 12 years at various universities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York City. Here at Campbellsville University, I now focus on helping students learn how to find good quality sources. All right, so here we are at the library homepage. So let's start with a couple ways you can get help. So on the library homepage, we have a chat with a librarian box here. So if ever you have a technical issue, you can actually chat with us during library hours. And then another great service we have is available here under library services. You can actually talk to me virtually on Zoom or Microsoft Teams. In one of these research appointments, I can discuss your assignment with you and help you narrow down a topic. And then we can look for some sources together, and I can even then email them to you. And I have a lot of experience teaching writing to international and domestic students over the years, so I can definitely offer you a lot of help with that process and with generating ideas. And you can also email me if you're too busy to request a Zoom appointment. You can just send me your questions here. Another way to get help is this button called tutorials. So this tutorials page actually has a lot of videos that show you basic search functions and also some more advanced search functions in these short videos. So if you want to come back to that, that's another resource you have. And we have a guide here for using CU Search. All right, so now I want to show you a page under library services that's specifically devoted to online and regional students and faculty. So we've already talked about this, the chat and the videos. One thing I want to point out now is that you can actually request Montgomery Library books and other circulating materials through the mail. And here's how we do that. So I'll talk about that, one of our first ways to get sources. So there's this form here. You just click this, and you have to put in your information. So I'll just put in empty spaces for this. And you put your mailing address here. And then you need to find the title of the book that you're interested in, provide that to us, provide the author's name, and then the call number. So next, I'm going to show you how to find the call number for a book. When you're at the home page, let's try looking up a book. So here's my example topic I've been interested in recently. It's called information literacy. This is the ability to find good quality sources and the ability to use databases and evaluate sources for yourself. So under CU Search, you can actually use these filters to narrow down what kind of source you're going to get. So there's this button here on the side that says print book, and I'll actually zoom in so you can see a little better. So if we do print book, then we have these books, and I've actually looked at some of these myself. This is a pretty interesting book. So this is basically, we need the title. So we copy and paste the title, and you find the author here, copy and paste the author's name. And lastly, this is the call number. So this is this long number with letters and numbers. So you copy and paste that into this form, and then you submit it, and then that's how you can request a book to be mailed to you, actually. So let me just show you how to get to that page one more time. So actually, here's the fastest way. You just go to Library Services, and then CU Library Exchange, and that's where you find the form where I'm checking out books online. All right, so next I want to show you some other resources you have online through CU Search. So you can actually filter articles, ebooks, print books here. So we could have even just clicked print books here. Now let's try ebooks. We'll do the same topic to find ebooks about information literacy here. And click search. So ebooks are really nice because you can just read them online. So wherever you are in the world. So I'll take this book, and you can read more about it here, the summary. You can find more information here, and then we'll try viewing it. So make sure you also, I forgot to sign in, so make sure you're signed in. Let's just sign in just to be safe. And okay, so now I'll click view ebook. This time it should work. All right, so here we are. You can cite books through the system here. Also, for any item that comes up in CU Search, we have a cite button here too. One thing really important though is this message always reminds you to inspect citation for missing data, indentation, or formatting when copying and pasting. So you can actually create a citation, say APA or MLA immediately, and then copy that into your works cited page, but always make sure to check it and compare it to what your professor requires, because there are sometimes mistakes here. If you just want to save the article for later, you can copy it here, copy the link, put it in a Word document for yourself or email it to yourself. This function is a little bit complicated. I would recommend sticking with these, but if you want to learn how to save sources within your account, just watch my tutorial video about that back through the homepage on the tutorials page. We've got a lot of advanced functions you can learn about yourself. All right, so moving on, let's work on how to find articles. So I'm going to try the same topic again, information literacy. Oh, and one thing I should point out is notice that I put information literacy in quotation marks. That's a special technique you can use to find this exact phrase. A lot of people don't know that. I've noticed recently in my teaching here, and that we don't want to find all the articles that mention information, because that's a really broad topic. I want only articles that talk about information literacy. I can narrow down this further by using the word "and" in all capital letters, and then another term, which is social media, because I believe a lot of people need to work on their skills with being able to evaluate resources when they're looking at social media, because often we get misinformation on social media. So it's important to have information literacy to avoid erroneous information. So now we get a lot of sources here, and this looks pretty interesting. Ebook about that. But remember, I said I wanted to find an article next. We've already done print books and ebooks. So here's how we narrow things down. So let's narrow down to article. And then this will be all kinds of articles, even news articles. And let's say I want something for an academic paper. Usually professors want you to use peer-reviewed sources. So you have to click the Show Only button, and then you click Peer-Reviewed. And also it's a good idea to click full text, because sometimes sources aren't available. So if you really need the source right away, I recommend clicking full text. And that gives us a lot of sources. You can see the total number, 148 peer-reviewed articles. So that means that professors or different kinds of scholars in the field have reviewed the article, and it should have been written by an expert to begin with. So multiple people would have worked on it, and so this would be very reliable for your academic papers. So that looks like an interesting topic, right? I recognize misinformation, verify before sharing. And just a reminder, you can cite it here with this tool here. And if we want to view it, you can click View Full Text to locate the article. You can often even download it as a PDF or save it to your computer and read it at a later time. So another thing I should point out here is that you may want to get the most recent sources. So notice that this was 2019, so that's pretty recent. But we have a whole lot of articles, 165. You can also filter for year of publication if you really want just something even newer than that, or even just a couple years old. So if we do just the last 5 years, then we'll get only 56 results. Okay, so interlibrary loan means that you can check out materials that are actually at other libraries. So the instructions are provided here. So if we go to, that's one of our services. So if you think of it as a service, click Library Services, click Interlibrary Loan. And this has instructions for how to actually find it. So, and I'll actually show you what that looks like in a moment. So I'm just going to go home to the home page, and I'll type in another topic. All right, so what I want to show you is that when you're searching, there's this option called At My Library. So when you first start using CU Search, it'll just say Montgomery Library. If you want to check other libraries, then this is how you will use, how you can find sources that are at other libraries. All right, so here's how it's working. So let's try articles. Let's narrow it down to articles. So through interlibrary loan, we actually will request another library to somehow scan it and email it to us, or somehow provide it to us. So let's find one that's at other libraries. Okay, it says at other libraries worldwide. So here's what that button looks like. It says request item through interlibrary loan. When you click that, you'll see a form, and you put your name and information in here. And then the name of the item should be copied here, and the author. And then you submit the request, and then we'll look at that for you. All right, so then another place to look for articles is through our databases. So CU Search actually is a database that combines many databases. But sometimes I get completely different results or even better results if I just go to an individual database, click this red button for databases A to Z. This will list 101 databases all alphabetically. One that I highly recommend is called Academic Search Complete. This is really good for academic papers. So let's try a different topic. So I know many people are in the IT and business field, so we could try cybersecurity, and how about this, artificial intelligence. So two pretty hot topics these days. Let's see if we can combine them. So notice again that I'm putting "and" in all capital letters, and I put artificial intelligence in quotation marks. And also, just like with CU Search, remember to click peer reviewed and full text as well, because sometimes articles aren't available full text. These ones are. Let's just click full text, and then you can click on these sources here to get the full text PDF, and you can cite them here. There's usually a citation button, for example, here. And okay, let's go back then. So to this list of databases, sometimes it can be a little confusing and you might not know which one to even use. So I have a great tip for that. Go back here to the home page and then click this button for library guides. So these library guides are devoted to almost every major or course concentration that we have at Campbellsville University. So depending on what your major is. So for example, if you're a business administration major, click this button here, articles and databases. And here you'll find the top recommended databases for your major. Or if you're, say, a biology major, you can click here, articles and databases, and find the databases that are recommended for you. We have some that are specifically about biology or environmental topics here. And also Academic Search Complete appears again because it's pretty versatile for all fields. And by the way, when you're in these guides, you can also find other resources for your specific field, like web resources for websites that could be relevant for your research. And then we have these pages here called the books, ebooks, and new titles. So these are new books that we got recently, and you can find the number here. So if you wanted to, say, request one of these books, you could just copy that and the title. All right, so then I also wanted to briefly show you another guide we have that's really useful. Oh yeah, by the way, we have one called Citation Style. So if you need help creating citations, you can go there. We also have a guide called Research Basics. So if you're just coming back to school after a while to do your grad program, or if you're an undergraduate as well and you're not so used to research, this is kind of like a short chapter that you could just read. It's almost like a textbook chapter that I and several other people have put together. So first step is basically you got to know your assignment before you even start researching, and maybe even read it 3 times and read some sample essays. And then I put together this diagram to show that the process of writing a research paper is not a linear path. Any step may need to be repeated at any time. So just keep that in mind, that you'll have to, once you start researching, you'll have to even come up with new search terms and brainstorm new ideas, and even adjust to revise your topic based on what you found, and then continue revising, repeat any steps if needed. And we have a guide here on evaluating sources and thinking about how to make sure a source is reliable enough or authoritative enough for your research. We even have guides here related to fact-checking, resources for recognizing propaganda and biased content, and tips for challenging fake news as well. And then also I have this page on generating search terms. So I think when you want to search for a topic, it's actually good to take a couple rounds to find terms. So first you kind of brainstorm whatever comes into your mind, but then you actually need to read your sources a little bit and combine those topics, whatever they are, with other contexts, for example, maybe locations that you're interested in. And then also, after you start reading your sources in more depth, then you can even come up with even more valuable search terms and find more articles. So at the end of doing research on a topic, your web will look like this. It won't look like this right away, but after you read it many different sources, you'll come up with more and more terms that are used in the research field for your topic. All right, I'll just conclude then with a reminder of a couple ways to get help. You can find my email address here on the library services page, so you can email me directly with questions that you may have. You can also chat with us during library hours. And then lastly, I wanted to remind you that I have other videos under this tutorials page that focus on the different skills we did today and many other skills. All right, well, thank you, everyone. I hope I can help you soon. Bye, have a good night.